First tonight on Our News Live at 7. Despite recent fluctuations in gas prices, major retailers see no change in their profit margin on gas sales as the months-long discussions with regulators continues. What the Economic Affairs Minister is saying about it coming up. Time's up. Groceries and pharmaceuticals placed on a special price control list may cost you more soon. Find out the inflationary relief measure that has to come to an end. Plus, some breaking developments in two separate shootings that now has investigators on the hunt for a suspect. And then in our news at 7:30, we've got reaction to recently released crime stats.
The change isn't there to show that they've done what they said that they've done. So if you say that you've done something, the result I expect.
The numbers may be down, but residents are sounding off on the need for a sustainable solution. Our news live at 7 starts now. Welcome to Our News Live at 7. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. I'm Megan Shepard. Investigators are tonight probing the deaths of two men gunned down just minutes apart in separate incidents this afternoon. Police telling Our News both victims were on bail for murder and were being electronically monitored. We will get to the latest in the investigation in about 5 minutes, but we begin with government holding firm on its decision to not grant gas retailers a margin increase. This as discussions continue with both sides trying to find some middle ground over concerns of profitability and survival. Jamila Missick is on the story.
Government's position has not changed regarding the proposed margin increase requested by the Bahamas Petroleum Retailers Association. That's according to Economic Affairs Minister Michael Alcides, who says they are still trying to compromise on ways to bring some relief without an increase.
It's a difficult situation because, again, you don't want to, and I'm sure the public will agree, they do not want to see an immediate hike in prices at the pump. And so we continue to have the discussions. I think being able to meet and exchange, that's a good thing, and we're moving.
The association has primarily asked government for an increase on the currently fixed margin of 54 cents per gallon. Prime Minister Davis had previously said the margin change was under consideration.
That option we're now rethinking and reconsidering.
But today, Alcides says that's not the case.
The position of the government is we're not considering an increase in margin that would lead to an increase in price at the pump. That has not changed. All right? You continue to talk. They think, they should have it. We don't want to have something that would increase the price at the pump. That does not stop you from talking. So when the Prime Minister says we continue to talk, we continue to talk.
As for whether or not government will reduce its margin, Alcides says that's not an option.
Government makes its revenue from taxes and borrowing. If you reduce the taxes, you have to find it from somewhere else. You borrow the money, you end up paying it in taxes anyhow, all right? And so the situation is this. It's very complex. It's not a simple situation as the government reducing its share and therefore, you're transferring it to somebody else. The government has to get the money from somewhere, plain and simple.
Reporting for Our News, I'm Jamila Missick.
Groceries and pharmaceuticals that were placed on a price control list by government to bring temporary relief to consumers have now expired. Economic Affairs Minister Michael Alcides says the measures were put in place due to global inflation.
The pharmaceutical expanded list was put in place for 3 months. The groceries expanded list was put in place for 6 months. The pharmaceuticals expired in January. The groceries expired this past Monday. We believe that given that inflation, particularly in the U.S., has moderated in recent months, we expect to see some of that pass through to us. Combine that with our increased enforcement capability, that we should be able to better protect the consumer going forward. So even though the expanded lists have expired, we are in a better position to enforce the law as it is.
As for whether or not the price control list will be reinstated, Alcides says at this time no decision has been made.
Bear in mind, at the time, when the expanded lists were put in place, we stated to the public and to the organized retailers, grocery retailers, that it was a temporary measure. So, we don't want to go back and just automatically extend something after we had given our word that it was temporary. But we'll continue to monitor the situation. And what the bottom line is, we have to use the tools that we have to protect the consumer. And if it becomes necessary, we'll have to consider it sometime in the future.
Two men gunned down just minutes apart in separate incidents this afternoon. Police say both victims were on bail for murder and were being electronically monitored. In the first incident, police were called to Mini Street and Wolf Road, where the body of a man was found lying in the street with gunshot wounds.
At 2:30 this afternoon, we would have had a victim. He drove his Nissan vehicle north along Mini Street, and a silver van would have pulled up alongside of him, and shots were fired. The victim would have attempted to at the back of us, where he met his demise.
Almost simultaneously, police were called to another shooting, this time on Montgomery Avenue off Carmichael Road, where a man was found with gunshot wounds in a white Japanese vehicle.
Police responded. We received information that there were two vehicles, a silver Japanese vehicle and a white Japanese vehicle. The silver Japanese vehicle began firing shots at the white Japanese vehicle, which resulted in the passenger of that vehicle being shot multiple times about the body. He succumbed as a result of his injuries. There was a driver, and that driver is now assisting us in further investigation of this matter.
Police confiscating a large stash of illegal drugs and ammunition on Sunday. Just before 4 p.m., officers attached to Operation Ceasefire conducted saturation patrols on Charles Vincent Street. During that time, officers observed a man who was holding a garbage bag acting suspiciously. When they saw the officers, he dropped the bag and ran away, which resulted in a short pursuit. The man was able to evade the police through Palm Beach Street. Moments later, the garbage bag was recovered and searched, and ammunition and marijuana was found. Officers from Operation Ceasefire recovered over 1,000 rounds of ammunition, an assault rifle, firearm components, and 8 ounces of suspected marijuana with an estimated street value of $1,200. The shocking find came just before 10 p.m. on Monday. Officers acting on intelligence searched the grounds of a church on Taylor Street in Nassau Village. That's where they found the drugs and ammunition. No arrests were made in connection to this incident. The anti-gang and Firearms Investigation Task Force is leading the investigation. And it's time now for your first look at temperatures. Meteorologist Greg Thompson is standing by in the Weather Center. Greg, how's it looking?
Well, we got some mostly cloudy skies outside our studios. No rain, but we do expect some rain across the northern island. See that in our satellite picture. But it is warm outside our studios once again this evening. 78 degrees under mostly cloudy skies. The winds out of the south at 12. A little bit of a breeze out there. Feels like temperature, a very comfortable 78. Temperatures around the islands right now, it's 78 in Freeport, 81 in Allenstown, Bimini, 79 in Nicholstown, Andros, over in Marsh Harbor, 77. We pick up 77 in Great Harbor Key as well, with some showers nearby, 79 in Governor's Harbor, Central Bahamas, 80s in Kemps Bay, Georgetown, and in Deadman's Key, 79 in Arthurstown, Cat Island, Coburn Townsend, Salvador, 78. And into the southeast Bahamas, 80-degree temperatures there as well, 81 in Duncantown, Ragged Island, as well as Abrams Bay, 80 in Kern Hill, Cricket Island, Delectable Bay, Providenciales, 79, and deep south, Matthew County. Now you guys round out our temperature profile at 82. Satellite-wise, we have a very wet weather pattern across the northwest Bahamas, still courtesy of a stationary front that's to the north of us, and an upper level disturbance that continues to track towards the east, but it will keep us kind of soggy. Most of the activity across the extreme northern islands, but here in the capital as well as North Andros and Eleuthera, we could see 1 or 2 showers later tonight through tomorrow. That's your first look at weather. Stick with us. A look at your extended forecast.
Still to come on our news, over 3,200 mangroves successfully planted over in Grand Bahama. Find out the restoration project helping to combat climate change and to preserve the local ecosystem. But first, mission accomplished. The Ministry of Tourism wraps another successful branding mission, this time in Texas. And stay tuned for some travel tips for this coming summer. Our Sasha Lightborn has got you covered when our news returns.
Just when Leo
The Ministry of Tourism wrapping up another successful mission, this time to Texas. Deputy Prime Minister and Minister of Tourism and Investments Chester Cooper says the mission provided an opportunity for new connections with the state. Bethany McDermott has the details.
This is an opportunity for us to open doors with this city of Houston.
While in Houston, Texas, Deputy Prime Minister and Minister of Tourism and Investments Chester Cooper says they were able to meet with officials from the Houston Airport Group. Additionally, they also met with the city's mayor.
We have significant synergies between the political directorate and also the business leadership. So we think all of these partners working in harmony in one common goal, all with a great respect and admiration for the Bahamas. They acknowledge our brand as one of great strength. They acknowledge us as great friends. And of course, everyone wants to go to the Bahamas.
He says all meetings yielded great commitments. The meetings, he says, were intense and productive, resulting in a successful mission. Dallas, Texas is the hub for American Airlines, which is the largest airline partner.
We were assured that all of their flights, all of their routes are doing exceptionally well. In one particular case where we were falling slightly below the 80% mark, we've agreed to work with them on some marketing initiatives. So we really were strengthening our partnership for the future. We talked about some potential new airlift, some more frequent flights to Grand Bahama, for example.
Speaking to the link between the Texas market and the Bahamas, Cooper admitted there's room for growth. The group also met with the Dallas Cowboys. Tourism Director General Latia Duncombe explains the significance of that meeting.
Our meetings with the Cowboys were very strategic from the perspective that we looked at the traditional types of partnerships, but we also looked at meetings, conferences, incentive trips, events, capitalizing on their fan base.
Reporting for Our News, I'm Bethany McDermott.
Thanks, Bethany. We're heading into the summer months, a time when Bahamians generally travel throughout the United States, mainly the state of Florida. Our Sasha Lightborn spoke to a Bahamian attorney based in South Florida about information Bahamians should be aware of. Here's that report.
Summer vacation travel and university graduation season is upon us. That said, Bahamians will be revving up their travel plans. A popular spot for that travel, Florida. But do you know what to do if you ever find yourself in a situation or on the wrong side of the law? Mia Pintard is a Bahamian attorney living and working in South Florida and shared these pertinent tips.
If you are pulled over by the police or find yourself on the wrong side of the law, that you always ask to speak to an attorney. That's my number one advice to all of my clients. The only thing you need to be telling the police is that I would like to speak to an attorney, because a lot of times questions may seem harmless and you don't know what information they're looking for, therefore you don't know what information to give.
She also shared this advice when it comes to renting vehicles.
You want to make sure that you always sign up for the most insurance. You want the car rental company to be responsible for any property damage that is done and any bodily injury damage that is caused, because at the end of the day, Florida is a very litigious state. There's always going to be a lawsuit.
And what if you're involved in a car accident in Florida?
In Florida, when you're involved in a car accident, if you are insured, there's something called no-fault insurance, where you get $10,000 to pay your medical bills regardless of whether you caused the accident or not. This insurance is only for medical bills, so this money will never be given to you as an insured or to anyone else other than to a medical provider.
Now, we'll have more from Pintard in another newscast, but if you want to reach her, log on to Instagram at Pintard Law Group or her website at pintardlawgroup.com. Reporting for Our News, I'm Sasha Lightbourne.
This segment of the news is brought to you by H.G. Christie. List your home in Grand Bahama with H.G. Christie. Visit our new office in the Port Lacaya Marketplace. H.G. Christie, celebrating over 100 years of service.
In 2019, Hurricane Dorian had a devastating impact on mangroves in the northern Bahamas. Since then, there has been a push to restore the vital ecosystem. The latest initiative happening in McLeanstown, Grand Bahama, where 3,200 mangroves were planted on Earth Day. Taking part in the event was the Forestry Unit, Waterkeepers Bahamas, and the Bonefish and Tarpon Trust.
Best Earth Day I think I've ever experienced. We have more than 100 volunteers out here planting somewhere north of 300 mangroves in a system that's critically important to Bahamas, to the flats fishery, to the local communities here.
Included in the scores of volunteers were students, teachers, and school officials who say they were happy to be a part of making a positive contribution to the environment.
This is my second time, and to return to see that there has been some growth spurts in some areas where we would have planted. It's really encouraging, it's motivating, and I just want to do it as much as I can.
We're really excited to be out here trying to restore some of the mangroves on the east end of Grand Bahama. It's important that we do that because we have it in our curriculum.
It's a good experience to be out here to help plant mangroves and restore, because it is our island and we should take care of it.
When Our News comes back from the break, we turn our spotlight to stories making headlines across the world as U.S. President Joe Biden announces his 2024 plan for re-election. This as a Russian ally is foreshadowing a new world war. And later on this day in Bahamian history, we take a look back at the groundbreaking of a now defunct cryptocurrency exchange. The details when Our News returns. This is Our News. Welcome back. We turn our attention now to stories making headlines across the world. U.S. President Joe Biden has announced he will run for re-election in 2024, setting the stage for a potential rematch with Donald Trump. Biden had been expected to seek a second four-year term and launched his campaign in a video on Tuesday. Vice President Kamala Harris will once again be his running mate. The 80-year-old is already the oldest president in the U.S. history and is likely to face questions about his age throughout the campaign. He would be 86 after finishing a second full term in 2029. Here's Biden speaking at a meeting of North America's building trades unions on Tuesday.
Our economic plan is working. We now have to finish the job, but there's more to do. And you're leading the way. Shovels in the ground, cranes in the air, factories opening, all those jobs, meaning we created. It's time to finish the job. Finish the job. What else? 4 more years. 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 4 more years.
Meantime, Deputy Chairman of Putin's powerful Security Council, Dmitry Medvedev, saying on Tuesday the world was probably on the verge of a new world war and the risks of a nuclear confrontation were rising. The deputy chairman saying such a new world war was not inevitable, but the risk of a nuclear confrontation were growing and more serious than concerns about climate change. President Vladimir Putin says the world faces the most dangerous decade since World War II, casting the war in Ukraine as an existential battle with the aggressive and arrogant West. Singer, actor, and activist Harry Belafonte has died at the age of 96. Belafonte was dubbed the King of Calypso after the groundbreaking success of his 1956 hit, the Banana Boat song, Deo. Families say Belafonte died Tuesday morning of congestive heart failure. He was a key strategist, fundraiser, and mediator for the civil rights movement and continually risked his entertainment career for his activism. Belafonte, whose political consciousness was shaped by the experience of growing up as the son of a poor Jamaican mother, later became a close friend of the late Reverend Martin Luther King Jr. And now to the region where the Mexican Navy has seized almost 10 tons of liquid methamphetamine hidden in 11,520 bottles of tequila intended for export. Authorities say they located 9.5 tons of the drug using sniffer dogs and a chemical identification system after inspecting a container housing 960 boxes and the tequila bottles at the port of Manzanillo. So far this year, the Navy has seized and destroyed approximately 114 tons of meth. And finally, Cuba's fuel shortage has increased dramatically, with authorities suspending activities, as well as rationing gasoline sales and moving some universities' classes online. Cubans have experienced shortages of all kinds of goods amid the recent economic crisis. The cancellation of activities come following days of long lines to get gasoline at filling stations. Experts say the lack of gasoline and diesel is not due to a lack of crude oil, but rather due to the difficulties refining it. Cuba produces about half of what it needs and buys the rest from other countries. Still to come in our news, today in history. Find out interesting facts about the day that was April 25th, including the groundbreaking for the now defunct FTX digital markets. Plus, Greg is back with your extended weather forecast. And then in our news at 7:30, signed, sealed, delivered, the $3 million contract signed between the government and one utility company. That's coming up when our news returns.
At Doctors Hospital, our lamp just got brighter. The loyal Loyalty Advantage membership program now has 3 unique plans to choose from. From Lamp Prepaid with free prime care visits and service line discounts, Lamp Insured with copay waivers and 0 upfront collections at the ER and inpatient services, or our new Lamp Access, a free plan that offers 10% off labs, pharmacy, and imaging. Lamp has a plan for everyone. To sign up, visit our website or give us a call. Doctors
Whether you're battling a chronic condition or offsetting a new injury, Doctors Hospital's comprehensive rehab services offer the help you need now.
Go to doctors.
3 advanced facilities at Collins Avenue, Carmichael Road, and Cable Beach means your personalized plan for care is just a visit away. From physiotherapy to occupational therapy and speech and language pathology, our team approach is all about rebuilding together. For a full list of services, visit doctorshosp.com/rehabilitation. Doctors Hospital, trusted and best care now. Isn't your health worth it?
Welcome back. It's now time to turn our spotlight on events that shaped the day that was April 25th. On this day in Bahamian history, in 1765, the British ship Medway Planter was wrecked on a reef of rocks near Cat Island. The ship was traveling from Jamaica to London, Great Britain. The ship's captain, Captain Leslie, and her crew managed to reach New Providence. Fast forward to 2013, when a top U.S. embassy was on the defense over a cabinet minister's criticism of the United States government. Then Minister of State for National Security, Keith Bell, accused the U.S. government of passing challenges on to the Bahamas by deporting hundreds of ex-convicts to this country after they've served time for offenses like manslaughter, armed robbery, and rape. U.S. officials call this a common practice, adding that it can't be done without the Bahamian government's approval. John Armstrong was U.S. Chargé d'Affaires at the time.
With Bahamian law enforcement and with the Attorney General's office to extradite criminals, people who are in the Bahamas, vast majority of them Bahamian citizens, who have committed crimes in the United States. And we continue to work on that. Right now there's 29 extradition requests outstanding, people that we'd love to take back and try in the United States. Some of them, unfortunately, have been outstanding for many years.
And finally, in 2022, the groundbreaking of the now bankrupt FTX Digital Markets headquarters. Sam Bankman-Fried at the time saying the Bahamas was the right fit with its strong regulatory framework. A former Miss Bahamas Universe turned consultant, using her talent and experience to help foster confidence in others. In this report, the beauty queen tells us the importance of building confidence in your day-to-day life.
Phenomenal women who have had their own individual confidence journeys.
Founder of The Final Crown and P.S. O'Brien Consulting, Chantel O'Brien, excited to announce that the 3rd annual Confidence Conference will be held in person for the first time this April 29th. She shares what attendees can expect.
For the month of April, we've had the Confidence Challenge, which is basically 30 days where we all participate in doing different things. And it's really to just reflect on ways that you have been confident and maybe you've overlooked that. And so we're just looking forward to women stepping into the new era of themselves, which is the theme of the Confidence Conference this year.
The former Miss Bahamas Universe 2021 shares her inspiration behind the Confidence Conference.
And even in my daily work as a coach, it always comes down to how one sees and views themselves. And so it really stemmed from perfection is a myth, which is my mantra. And from there, we've just been able to build off of that.
O'Brien says the event will not be just another empowerment event, but women should come ready to be transparent, vulnerable, and open to new ideas.
This won't be a teen event. We'd love for teens to be a part of it, but we have different initiatives that they could take part in, which is also the Confidence Challenge and some of the school visits that I will be making. We're looking at women who are entrepreneurs, who are career women, who are in leadership, women who may, feel like they cannot start over, who are maybe in a position of where they want to start over, but they don't know how to.
O'Brien says she is currently working to have the month of April officially dubbed Confidence Month by the government. Reporting for Our News, I'm Megan Shepard. Now to watch that story again and for all of today's top stories, be sure to visit ournews.bs. That does it for Our News at 7. Joining us now is our Italia Hall with the latest headlines. Italia.
Yes, Megan, happy Tuesday and happy birthday. How are you feeling?
Thank you. I feel so great.
Great. Any wishes this year or?
They say if you tell your wish, then it won't come true. So I'll just keep it dear to my heart.
All right, Megan. Thanks so much, and we hope you enjoy the rest of your day from the entire team here. All right, well, we've got reaction tonight from residents weighing in on recently released crime stats and the latest environmental concerns from the proposed RCI project on Paradise Island. Here are your latest headlines. Crime still a major concern. New tonight on Our News Live at 7:30. Stats for serious crimes are down, but residents say nothing has changed.
The crime against, they would say against women. Women come in and they complain, and I think that their voices should be heard.
Coming up, environmentalists are encouraged but skeptical when it comes to RCI's responses to their environmental concerns, and they continue to push for more transparency.
Plus, signed, sealed, and delivered. After almost 5 years, a $3 million contract is signed with the Bahamas Utility Services and Allied Workers Union. Hear how many union members will benefit. But first, more technology upgrades in the pipeline as government announces that their website will soon receive a facelift. Our News Live at 7.
With over 25 years in business, nothing says commitment to our people, culture, and service like Rev. And this year is...
First we plan, then we innovate, then we build. At Bahamas Striping Group of Companies, we are committed to quality, to safety, and to service. We know that the road you take is just as important as your final destination. At Bahamas Striping Group of Companies, it is our job to make sure the road and the ride are as smooth as possible. From striping roads to building them, we are the right choice. The trusted choice, the only choice to help you build your tomorrow.
Welcome to Our News and thank you for joining us. I'm Italia Hall. With police reporting a decrease in crime compared to the first quarter of last year, residents are giving their take on whether those numbers tell the full story. Our Joshua Williams has their reactions.
Yesterday, Police Commissioner Clayton Fernando released crime statistics for the first quarter of 2023. Stats show that serious crimes are down around the country, such as murder, which has seen a 16% decrease when compared to last year. These residents says those numbers mean nothing if the results are the same.
Crime is not down because every time I buy the paper and look in the paper, I see news of crime, so I could be down.
No, I don't believe that it is down. I believe that it's up. I can continuing to rise.
Lately, the country has been rocked with news of violence against women. This resident says while all crime should be taken seriously, special emphasis should be placed on protecting women and children throughout the country.
I feel that they can do better as in responding to it to make sure that it does not happen. Don't take every cry as wolf.
And as for the solutions to crime,
I'd love if
there can be more awareness for the police force in terms of actually watching what happens on the streets in more of the areas that have these high rates of crime.
Reporting for Our News, I'm Joshua Williams.
All right, thanks, Josh. Well, Bimini police are investigating the alleged sexual assault of a 20-year-old woman from Cat Key, Bimini. Reports of that just before 10 a.m. on Sunday, officers attached to the Cat Key police station received reports of a sexual assault. The victim claims her attacker was a man she knew. As a result, officers arrested the suspect, who is assisting with this investigation. There seems to be an increasing exchange of information between Royal Caribbean International and concerned environmentalists. Our Marlena Leonard has been following the story and has their reaction to the cruise line's recently released environmental plans for their beach club project on Paradise Island.
I'm encouraged that they have actually responded. You know, the objective in advocacy isn't to be at war with the developer. You know, we understand our country needs development, so we still are calling for you to put on the table out there for every Bahamian to be able to see what exactly you're planning. We also are still calling for an open and transparent process.
President and CEO of One Consultants, Eric Carey, says environmentalists are encouraged after Royal Caribbean International released an outline of their environmental plans for the Royal Beach Club at Paradise Island. The release highlights 6 cornerstones: zero waste to landfill, a goal to be on 100% renewable energy within the decade, state-of-the-art wastewater management where some will be reused for landscaping, a commitment to not dredge or build overwater cabanas, protecting the island's habitat, and local environmental monitoring. But Carey says he's still skeptical after seeing the transformation of what is now Coco Key.
You completely transformed that. I mean, you took that from Paradise. I mean, like you say, you've literally paved Paradise and put up the parking lot concept, you know, and why should we have any confidence that you're going to come into this other area, which is similarly small and sensitive, and how are we going to be convinced that your record does not speak for itself?
And while Carey is encouraged that RCI has promised the gold standard in environmental handling of the project, Carey's concerned that it might still be too much for the delicate area.
I don't think that it can sustain the pressure. Even if you went for the gold standard that you say you're going to do, that gold standard is still going to be applied to a transformed and desecrated and decimated site.
Reporting for Our News, I'm Marlena Leonard.
And speaking of the environmental concerns, we are learning about a mangrove planting initiative that's a part of the 50th Independence celebrations. The planning committee is looking to get students around the country involved in the exercise, and it will give them an opportunity to serve and celebrate their country all at the same time.
These young Bahamians will have a unique opportunity to serve as ambassadors of their environment while increasing their sense of national pride. These students will take on the task of planting mangroves in critical areas throughout the Commonwealth of the Bahamas. They will be selected from a cross-section of the country, including the Family of Islands, and they will have an opportunity to participate in the independence celebrations in a meaningful way.
Now, Executive Director for Waterkeepers Bahamas, Rashima Ingram, and Environment and Natural Resources Minister Von Miller spoke about the importance of mangroves to our environment.
We need as many persons on board with this, to get involved with this. It's a great time to educate our people about this natural resource. And I think a lot of times we take for granted and think they know. A lot of persons do not know. So this is an excellent time to educate our persons, to empower them.
Mangrove restoration is an important undertaking that affects our environment and communities. As we know, mangroves are vital ecosystems that buffer against climate change and erosion and provide lasting habitat for many marine species.
All right, we have much more to get to, including the signing of a $3 million agreement with one local utility company. But before we get to the details of the deal, cloudy skies in the capital today as some isolated showers are expected in the northwest Bahamas. Meteorologist Greg Thompson is in the Weather Center live with a first check on weather. Greg?
Yeah, thanks, Natalia. We got cloudy skies outside. Most of the activity is still to the north, mainly across Grand Bahama and the Abacos. You see that in the satellite picture. But temperatures took a little bit of a dip just about a half an hour ago. It's now at 77 and mostly cloudy skies. South winds at 10 miles per hour, and your field slight temperature is at 77. Wet weather pattern across our area. Frontal boundary to the north, as well as an upper level disturbance that's still moving towards the east across the northern islands. That's keeping us under these cloudy skies with some showers and isolated thunderstorms. We'll continue to see most of that activity, mainly confined to the extreme northern islands, but 1 or 2 showers along the western side should get in here by tonight through tomorrow. That's your first look at weather. Stick with us. A look at your extended forecast is still to come.
Still to come on Our News, over 300 members of the Bahamas Utility Services and Allied Workers Union are set to benefit from a new agreement signed today with government. The first in almost 5 years. We have the full story straight ahead. But first, a new look. Government's official website will soon get a facelift. Plus, find out why the Economic Affairs Minister says he understands that the construction of Central Bank's new headquarters downtown Nassau is postponed and not cancelled. That's all coming up when Our News returns.
Everyone hates a dead cow battery. Why not get a battery that lasts and has a 12-month warranty and is only $64.50? Intercontinental batteries are made with German technology, compatible with Japanese, US, and European vehicles, and adapts to warm climates. All right, good to go. These batteries are high quality, affordable, innovative, and only available at AID. Visit us online or WhatsApp us at 427-0026.
A 3-year union agreement worth some $3 million signed today between government and the Bahamas Utility Services and Allied Workers Union. Minister of Works and Utilities, Alfred Sears.
This agreement sets the framework for the corporation's current 386 non-management employees, noting that the staff have not yet received any general increases in pay since the last agreement expired in 2018. This agreement includes for the staff to receive 4 general increase increments over the period 2022 to 2025.
President Dwayne Woods calling the agreement an accomplishment, adding that it addresses the rising costs in the country due to inflation. He also listed some of the other benefits in the agreement.
Increase in geographical transfer allowance, increase in lunch allowance in the family island, increase in travel allowance and incidentals, increase in Christmas bonuses. Additional categories of workers will benefit from special skill allowance and the exposure to adverse physical conditions, as well as increase in these allowances.
All right, well, the central bank has terminated its project to construct a new headquarters building on the Royal Victoria Garden site. The bank detailing in a press release that it started the process to transfer ownership of the property back to the government so that alternative use can be made of the site. Economic Affairs Minister Michael Halkida says while he did not see the press release, from what he understands, the project is being postponed, not cancelled.
The government expressed its opinion to the central bank that, having, just coming out of COVID, still not fully recovered, that might not be a high priority at the time. And so the government, in dialogue with the central bank, encouraged them to seek to postpone that, given, and I'm talking about this conversation was had a few months, over a year ago.
Now, back in 2017, government agreed to transfer the Royal Victoria Gardens to the central bank for development of its new headquarters building. The central bank will explore other arrangements to meet its long-term accommodation needs. While the government of the Bahamas website is set to get a major overhaul, the Department of Information and Communications Technology kicking off the process with a meeting that included stakeholders from various agencies. That meeting was held at the Office of the Prime Minister this morning. Parliamentary Secretary in the Ministry of Economic Affairs, Wade Watson, says updating the website is long overdue.
We're launching a project today which is very, very critical to the masses, especially the citizens of the Bahamas and even those persons internationally who want to interact with the government virtually. So we're launching our revamping, rebranding, and revolutionizing of the government's official website.
Watson says a major push for the web designers is making the revamped site more attractive to young people.
I really want to speak directly to our millennials because the existing government website doesn't cater to our young people. Our young people like to interact with government using their mobile devices, and they want to be able to pay for their services using their mobile devices. And so we thought it fitting to seek, as a part of the Blueprint for Change, to revolutionize the government's website, which was launched sometime back in 2011, and give our citizenry, and especially I say it again to our millennials, the opportunity to be able to use their phone and their devices.
51 micro, small, and medium enterprises have been approved for the Creative Entrepreneurs Standalone Grant of up to $5,000. The grant is a result of a collaboration between the Small Business Development Center, the Bahamas Trade Commission, the Bahamas Chamber of Commerce, and Royal Caribbean International. Interim Deputy Executive Director at SBDC, Felice Bethel, explains.
Sometimes creative entrepreneurs get a little overlooked. We feel like no one's checking for us. We hear orange economy a lot, but before now, I've not really seen them dug into the creatives, the bloggers, the writers, the video producers. So I'm really ecstatic that they have taken the time out to recognize us in such a huge way.
This grant helps me in many ways. It is actually the first level of support outside of me pushing. So it means a whole lot. I am grateful. And this sends a big message to creatives throughout the country that we have the support and we have the assistance. We just need to move forward and take action at this point.
The purpose of the grant is to help MSMEs cover the costs of intellectual property protection, production equipment, contract manufacturing, raw materials, brand collaterals, and marketing campaigns. The 51 grant recipients represent the islands of Andros, Abaco, Eleuthera, Grand Bahama, and New Providence. And in this room, we have 34 grant recipients from New Providence.
Now, as you would have seen, we caught up with some of the recipients of the grant who spoke to us about the current climate for creatives in the country and the difference the money will make to their business. Now, to learn more, you can visit ournews.bs.
It's now time for tonight's Financial Market Minute, brought to you by RF, your local investment bank. This has been your Financial Market Minute. To explore the best performing mutual funds in the Bahamas, visit our website at www.rfgroup.com.
We catch up with Bahamians in the major leagues and find out who to watch in the NBA playoffs tonight. Hang on for Our Sports.
Cloudy skies around the island today as some rain is expected over the next few days. Meteorologist Greg Thompson is back in the Weather Center with your extended weather forecast right after this quick break.
Today's sports update is sponsored by Corona, distributed in the Bahamas by Jimmy's Wines and Spirits.
This is our news. Welcome back. We've got action from the major leagues last night, and we bring you the latest on Bahamian star players in the NBA playoffs. Tej Adderley is up now with a check on sports. Tej?
Hello, Atalia. Good evening and welcome to Our Sports. Marlins center fielder Jazz Chisholm and San Francisco Giants first base coach Anton Richardson's teams both played last night. Let's see what happened. Jazz Chisholm and the Miami Marlins lost an 11-0 blowout to the Atlanta Braves last night. Jazz went 0 for 3 with a strikeout as the Marlins faced a dominant outing from Braves right-handed pitcher Spencer Strider, who pitched 8 innings giving up only 2 hits and no runs as he struck out 13 batters. He also had a no-hitter going all the way into the 8th inning. The Marlins are playing the Braves right now, so we'll let you know how that goes tomorrow. Anton Richardson's San Francisco Giants got a big win last night over the St. Louis Cardinals. Alex Cobb got the win on the mound with the rare complete game shutout. He gave up 6 hits and struck out 4 batters. J.D. Davis did the heavy lifting for the team from the Bay, hitting a 3-run homer in the 7th to give the Giants their final lead. Richardson and his Giants take on the Cardinals again tonight. DeAndre Ayton and his Phoenix Suns will try to put the LA Clippers away tonight in Phoenix. Here are the details. Nassau-born center DeAndre Ayton and his Phoenix Suns play Game 5 of the first-round NBA series against the Clippers later on tonight in Phoenix. Ayton is averaging almost 15 points while leading his team in rebounds with just over 11 per game. Phoenix has a chance to put away a Clippers team out of options after the best player, Kawhi Leonard, is knocked out of the series with a significant knee injury. Russell Westbrook, the last man standing in a Clippers jersey, will give it everything he has, but look for the Suns to put this one away. Eric Gordon, another Bahamian who plays for the Clippers, starting at shooting guard in place of injured All-Star Paul George, will try to help Russell Westbrook. The game begins tonight at 10 p.m. Bahamas time, so be sure to check this matchup of two Bahamians. And that was sports. I'm Tage Adderley. Back to you, Italia.
We're into day 2 of the work week, and some rain may be expected. Well, Greg is back in the Weather Center with all of the details right after this quick break. Stay with us.
Enter to win a chance to join us at Corona Island for the ultimate immersive travel experience by purchasing a 6-pack of Corona from now until May 7th at any Jimmy's Wines and Spirits locations or participating stores. Visit livecoronaisland.com to learn more.
When it comes to picking a pharmacy that is convenient and reliable, only one name comes to mind: Wilmax Pharmacy, a team of trusted and trained pharmacists ready to serve you with all your pharmaceutical and over-the-counter product needs. We carry beauty and hair supplies, as well as household and everyday supplies. Open 7 days a week from 7:30 a.m. to 8 p.m. NIB drug plan is accepted and delivery service is available. So call 323-1037 today or visit Wilmax Pharmacy on Ponciana.
Welcome back to Our News. Cloudy skies outside the Our News studio this evening, but does that mean that rain showers are expected soon? Well, Greg is live in the Weather Center with your extended weather forecast. Greg?
Yeah, some showers, mainly across the extreme northern islands. We could get 1 or 2 smaller showers across the capital as we still are stuck in this wet weather pattern. There's a front just to the north, mainly across the extreme northern, central Florida, and we have an upper level disturbance. A couple of them have been moving across us, and they will continue to keep this wet weather pattern. We do see a break, and then we expect another more significant one on the weekend, so prepare for that. And if you have to wash your car, wash your car. Yeah. Taking a look at our future forecast, the moisture to the north of us across the extreme northern islands, as I mentioned, a couple of smaller showers near the capital, put the map in motion. Some of that will sag, but most of the activities stay out towards the east and away from us. And then through Thursday, things clear up. That's the break we have. And then by Friday, Saturday, we expect, as I mentioned, another significant upper level trough. We see the moisture coming in on the map. Taking a look at our boating conditions for all areas tonight through tomorrow, your winds will be out of the southeast at 10 to 15 knots. They will fall light and variable at times. Seas running 2 to 4 feet over the ocean. Tide was low at 6:28, should be high around 1 o'clock in the morning. Here's a look now at your national forecast. A look at your future forecast. Next 7 days, moisture in the forecast through tomorrow. Then we have that clearing, and then by Saturday, as I mentioned, another upper level trough or disturbance moving across us. So we're looking for some showers and some isolated thunderstorms Sunday and Monday, and then we clear back up on Tuesday. That's a look at our weather. Back to you.
All right, thanks so much, Greg. Well, with that, we thank you for joining us for our news tonight. On behalf of the entire team, I'm Natalia Hall. We'll see you tomorrow night. Have a great evening.